Hey, everybody. Good morning. Meteorologist Bryce Jones here. If you missed the show this morning, don't worry, I've got you covered. We're going to get on here and we're going to go through our minor snow chance tonight. We're going to talk about, first of all, how it starts as rain, how it flips to snow. And then we've got some really, really cold air heading in our direction. Now, I'm not going to tell you it's record cold, but I will tell you that it's the coldest air we have seen, I think, since February. Um, so we definitely have some cold air on the way. Real quick, like the stream, share the stream, let folks know, hey, we got a snow chance coming through tonight. This is not going to be the same case of what just moved through on Tuesday, just to go ahead and let you know up front. But I do think we could see some minor accumulations out of this, depending on where you live. So share the stream, like the stream. We'll go ahead and get started here in just a second. Again, we got that snow chance tonight. We had a couple different snow chances coming up this week. And then we are talking about some real cold air that's about to roll right into our area. So right now, here's what radar looks like. And as you can see, not a whole lot going on, right? What looks like rain falling right now is actually not even reaching the ground. So a lot of what you see, odds are you're not even seeing it technically on the ground. All of that is likely just staying up above the clouds, and it's evaporating before it can get here. So let me know where you're from. We'll go ahead and where you're watching from. We'll go ahead and jump into it. I know Sunday mornings are really busy with the kids, trying to get to church services, head out to the store. So we're going to come on here and do a quick live all about what is coming later on tonight. And then, of course, heading into tomorrow morning, because I know this time of the year you hear the word snow and you're like, oh gosh, here we go again. Especially after we got such a early decent snow. I mean, we had almost 5 inches of snow in our area this past Tuesday. So we'll go ahead and get to it. So yeah, as you can see, a lot of what's moving through is really light. A lot of it isn't even reaching the ground. I mean, you'll notice that when we look at the actual reflectivity here in just a minute. Now, this is all part of the same system that's going to bring us a minor snow chance tonight. But what moves through doesn't have a lot of moisture with it. I mean, when you look along the actual front off to the west, over near Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, you see there's just not a lot of moisture to work with. And that's the biggest difference with this system compared to the one that just moved through on Tuesday. So when you look live right now, at radar, you'll see what radar's picking up on what looks like a little bit of a sleet snow mix just to our east. Odds are most of that is probably not reaching the ground. Now, some of it may, which is why we have about a 20% chance for the daytime today. You may see a couple of sleet pellets, maybe a little bit of a mist, a couple snowflakes flying around during the day today. And that's just going to happen with the low-hanging clouds that we've got around our area. But again, this isn't going to really accumulate until maybe later on tonight. So what's out there right now, what's out there during the day isn't really going to mess up your plans too much. It's still going to be a cold one. We got a lot of clouds heading in our direction through the day today. And again, I don't think we're going to see much of, if any, sunshine. Now, you see data starts to pick up on what looks like some light showers rolling through in the next half hour. It's picking up on a lot of what's to our east. You can tell all that is pretty far away from where Fort Knox is. That's close to where the radar beam is. And the radar beams are aimed north, or kind of angled a little bit upward, so that you can scan the entire cloud. But when that happens, it's scanning further away the higher up you go. So, for instance, that radar that's near Fort Knox, if I'm scanning down in Campbellsville, I'm looking way up in the cloud where that's actually coming down. As if I'm scanning like PRP, that means it's closer to the ground. So basically what I'm trying to say is a lot of what this is picking up on isn't going to reach the ground. Some of it will, but most of it won't. So as we progress through the morning, you see the clouds hang around. I do think we get warmer than yesterday, which, I mean, to be honest, is it going to be that hard to do? Because we only hit 37 yesterday. But again, I do think we're going to climb back up into the low 40s, maybe mid 40s the next few days. But I think we're going to be stuck in the low 40s for this afternoon. Which, I mean, again, hey, I know it's cold, but it's at least a little bit of a better scenario than what we've been dealing with. So as we head through the next few hours, afterward, you go to middle afternoon, you still have a lot of cloud cover hanging around, and we're still dry. But watch what happens. After 3 o'clock, you go towards sunset and thereafter, and whoop, here we go. Here comes the moisture. That front that I showed you starting to push through our area a little bit. And notice the winds. They've shifted out of the north now behind that front. So as that front slides through, it's going to shift our winds, and that's going to drag in that cooler air from the north while we have a little bit of moisture left over in our area. And obviously, it's not a lot of moisture, and that's kind of again the biggest difference between this one and the one that moved through on Tuesday. Is the one on Tuesday had a lot of moisture with it. This one does not. So by 9 o'clock, we also have the light rain in our area, but again, none of it is snow, at least not yet. By the time we get to around midnight to 2 a.m., some of us in southern Indiana are going to start to see that. But how long is it going to last? That's the next question. So up in Indiana, you're going to start to see that first. You're going to start to see that transition probably between around 1 and 2 if you really want to get nitpicky with it, because you can see temperatures are cold enough there. 33 in Seymour, 34 in Paoli, 35 in Madison. So a little bit of sleet can mix in there for a little bit, and it'll go back and forth. But once we continue to push that cold air in, eventually we'll get down to Louisville. But here's the thing. By the time it gets to Louisville, we don't have a lot of moisture left over. So Louisville probably will not see a snowflake until maybe 4 to 5 a.m. And by then, it's just not coming down very heavy. We don't have a lot of intensity with the snow either, which is another difference compared to what moved through on Tuesday. What moved through on Tuesday was coming down. It was puking snow. It's like a snow globe out there for part of the morning. This case and scenario, we could have some moderate pockets in there, but we'll be probably an all-snow scenario from 5 a.m. on tomorrow morning in Louisville. That does include the morning commute tomorrow. So if you're heading to work between like 7 and 8, you're probably still going to have some snow showers around and some snowflakes flying around. But again, it's not heavy. It's light. You don't really even see any dark shading until you get over toward like East Kentucky. And I'll get my big head out of the way so you can see. You see over toward East Kentucky, that darker shading there. That's where your higher moisture content is, and where that's going to be at least a little bit more likely to see some of that heavier snow. For us, it's going to be mostly light with a few moderate pockets. It ends by around 1 o'clock, and then we move on. So without a lot of moisture, you're going to struggle to bring in accumulations. So a lot of us won't see any accumulation at all. Some of us could see a dusting on elevated surfaces, some grassy areas, maybe just on the grass in general, overpasses, bridges, things like that could be a little slick tomorrow. So here's what I'm thinking in terms of accumulation. It's not a lot. It's really not. I'll get out of the way again for you here. I've got up to a ½ inch, and that does include the number 0, by the way. 0 to a ½ inch for a good chunk of our area. From all the way up through Seymour, down through around, say E-Town, maybe just south of E-Town, halfway through Hardin County, southern Nelson, going over toward Washington counties, just north of around Springfield area. I think from there north, we have a chance of seeing accumulating snowfall. But that does not mean that it's going to be a lot. Anything that does accumulate should be under a ½ inch. And honestly, it'll probably be less than that. I'm thinking maybe like a 1/4 inch or less for many of us. Some of us just see a dusting. Some of us don't see anything at all. But in this case and scenario, this isn't going to cause big issues on the roads tomorrow. You could still have some slick spots. Anywhere you might be able to get a moderate pocket of snow in there. You might get some brief coverage on some roads, but I don't think this is a big scenario at all. This is a very minor snow chance and a very minor snow accumulation. Those higher totals, as you can see with the darker shading there, East Kentucky over toward West Virginia, you're talking Pikeville, moving over into West Virginia itself and Virginia State. That's where your higher totals are going to be. For our area, I'm not really too concerned with it. So some of you are going to wake up, you're going to see a little bit of a dusting, maybe a 1/4 inch, a ½ inch of snow, a worst case scenario, but this is not one where you should expect to see snow heading out the door tomorrow. This is not that case and scenario. But here's what I can tell you. We've got some cold air on the way, and I'm not talking 30s. I'm not even talking 20s. I'm talking colder than that. And when you factor in wind chill values, ooh, it's going to get cold next week. So this is a current look at temperatures. These are not wind chills, by the way. These are actual air temperatures up in Canada, heading up toward the Arctic Circle, and further up into Alaska. So you see that colder air from the Arctic is dipping down a little bit into Canada, which it does all the time, by the way. But you start to see it wobble a little bit now. And we're starting to see some movement with that cold air moving into Canada. I mean, it's 1 degree in Minneapolis, Minnesota right now. It's -15 in Winnipeg. It's -24 in Thompson. And I mean, it even goes further than that. You go further up toward the Arctic Circle. I mean, look at Fort Good Hope, closer to Alaska. The air temp right now is -31. So this type of air is going to dip down toward the Ohio Valley and reach into our area. It's kind of branch out in the data. You literally see it kind of branch out into the Ohio Valley by the time we get to next weekend. And that's going to be where we start to feel that real cold air settle its way on in. So the Climate Prediction Center 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. If you were watching yesterday on the morning show, I was showing this, and it was pulling in some of the darker blue shadings. But now the Climate Prediction Center is like, yep, here we go. We're dragging in that deep purple, which is basically like, bang, we're taking it to the bank. It's a done deal that we've got colder than normal conditions rolling into our area. And honestly, I'm surprised it's not further. I would honestly pull this purple down through like here where this darker blue shading is, unless something changes. I mean, we are still 6 days away from a lot of this rolling in, so things can change, but we're talking some real cold air. Now, how cold are we talking? Now, that's not air temp. That is wind chill. But I will say most data will agree. And again, this can change a little bit. It's kind of backed off a little bit since yesterday, so I wouldn't be surprised if it backed off a little more over the next couple of days. Wind chill values could go, in some cases, sub-zero on Saturday morning. Air temperature will not be that cold. Air temperature could still be in the teens, and in some cases, way up in Indiana, maybe a single digit here or there. But it's going to be breezy come Saturday morning and into Saturday afternoon. This cold air advection is what we call it, rushing into our area. It's going to bring in breezy conditions and wind chill values on Saturday morning. They're going to be around zero and could get as cold as sub-zero. You see, by Saturday afternoon, as we warm up, highs look like they may be in the mid-20s, maybe. It may be even colder than that. I'll be completely honest with you. Data has it in the teens. I'm not buying it just yet. I don't want to throw a dart at it and come out here and tell you it's going to be that cold, since we're still almost a week away. But I will tell you that, I mean, we're talking probably air temperatures in the afternoon in the low 20s being an absolute possibility come Saturday morning, next Saturday into Saturday afternoon, and wind chill values in the teens all day long on Saturday. It's going to be that bitter, cold, dry air that chaps your skin. And that's the kind of air I think that we're talking about. And then even heading into Sunday, it backs off a little bit in the morning, but the afternoon is still downright cold. Now, here's the good thing. And the long range, I don't think this lasts very long. I think this is a brief cold shot. But I will mention that I do think it could last the entire weekend of next weekend. So if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I've gone through kind of my gist there. If you have any questions about snow tonight, the cold air rolling on in, by all means, let me know. I just wanted to make this a quick live because we do have that snow chance tonight, even though it's very minor. A lot of you aren't going to see anything out of it, but some of you could get a quick dusting up to a half-inch worst case scenario. So don't wake up and expect to see snow on the ground tomorrow morning, but some of you definitely could. How long is the cold going to last? What's up, Ron? So as I mentioned earlier, the cold probably isn't going to last much further past Monday of next week. Well, really, we're going to get a little bit of a break in the middle of this week. We're going to get back in the mid to upper 40s Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it starts to go downhill, and we get that Arctic air I just showed you heading into next week. So that's going to be when we start to see this cold air roll its way on in, is more so late Friday night of next week. But I don't really see it lasting more than 2 to 3 days before we start to rebound pretty well, heading into the beginning of next work week. Hi, Bryce, Holly Ann on Facebook. No, that's too cold. Amen to that. It's probably the coldest air that we've seen since February. So we've got that cold air rolling on in. Bonnie on Facebook. Good morning. I'm a snow lover. Can you please tell me if we're going to get some more snow? So, Bonnie, if you just joined, I mentioned earlier, and you can rewind when the live is over, we get a little bit of chance of some snow tonight. Some light rain is going to switch over to some light snow by tomorrow morning and overnight tonight. We get have some very light accumulations up to a half-inch, worst-case scenario, for most of us. And, again, most of us won't see that much anyway. It's going to be like more of a dusting or so for a lot of us. But there could be that, rare scenario where maybe a local location could get up to a half-inch. Hello, Amy Smith. Good morning. What's up, Glenn Robinson? Long time no see, brother. Hale State is right, man. How's it going down in the SIP? Good morning, Carol from Camp Taylor. Good morning, Indiana. Candace on YouTube. I can't believe how cold it's going to get Saturday. Yeah, and again, guys, this can change. I mean, things shift obviously 6 days away. Temperatures, though, they're a little less likely to change than like a snow chance. That's why I'm not going to come up here and be like, oh, we're getting a foot of snow next week. Like, that would be dumb because, first of all, it's wrong. And second of all, it's going to change. So if you ever see any weather pages on Facebook posting like egregious snow totals like a week out, just disregard it. But I will say with this cold air coming in, this type of cold air usually comes in with very dry air as well. So it's going to be hard to get snow out of it while this cold air is in our area heading into next weekend. So I don't really see that happening unless things start to shift a little bit. Good morning, Sellersburg. Janie on Facebook. Good morning, Michael from the Churchill Downs neighborhood. Let's see. Someone turned their heater off, or someone turned our heater off on YouTube. Yeah, I know. We're getting to the freezer box next weekend. How is Jeffersonville? Roads at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Janie's asking on Facebook. Have to take son to hospital for surgery at 5:30. So the road should be okay. I'm not going to rule out some slick spots. It's really hard to predict road conditions as a meteorologist. We have been cold, so that would help some things stick, but this isn't going to come down heavy. So I think a lot of roads, other than some slick spots, are just going to be wet. Now, you go to overpasses, things like that, you can get a little bit more to stick. But for now, I wouldn't really be too concerned with the road conditions come Monday morning. Could it change a little bit? Sure. Matthew Wine will be in tonight to have a new look at the data. Oh, excuse me. Toddler kept me up half the night. But this isn't like last week where it's coming down, puking snow. It's going to cover the roads like that. So you could have some slick spots tomorrow. But I don't think we're talking about major travel issues or anything like that tomorrow. Sandy, any ice expected out of Brandenburg? Good question, Sandy, on Facebook. Sandy Cooper. No, if anything, we could see some sleet pellets falling down briefly before it gets fully to snow, but even then it's going to be really light. Again, this isn't coming down as heavy as it did on Tuesday. The sleet pellets are the ones that kind of bing. Like I have a tin roof over my back deck, for instance, and anytime we get sleet, it's like bing, 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 and you can really hear it on your windshield too. But that wouldn't even be very long before it goes to snow. Holly Ann will be there. Will there be any precipitation with that real cold next weekend? For now, I would lean toward no. But again, any precipitation that rolls through when it's that cold would be snow, so I can't rule it out. But typically when that cold air rolls on in, it's usually really dry air. Let's see. Hey, from Valley Station, Judy. Shout out the South End. I'm over the cold already. Amen to that. It's been cold, guys. Really. I mean, we should be around 50 this time of year. We haven't been anywhere close to that. It's cold in Georgetown. Yep. Got 30s around our area. So I'll go back one more time before we end the live here and go through what you can expect for snow tonight, because I know that's what a lot of people are mostly interested in anyway. Again, we'll have a few light showers in our area this afternoon. Not that big of a deal. Get my big head out of the way. Cloud cover is going to stick around. You see, we're in the low 40s more than likely this afternoon. Maybe some clearing east of 65 briefly, but the clouds are really going to dominate today. But there's not a lot of moisture to work with. And even after sunset, while that moisture content rises along that front, you can see the moderate rain, the moderate moisture is off to our east. It's not even in our area. So a lot of what's falling is going to be light. You do see that switch over take place between like 1 and 2 in Indiana. It makes its way down to Louisville with snow after like 3 to 4. And then we'll see light snow for a couple of hours through around 8:30 tomorrow morning before that starts to back off a little bit. And we finally start to see that calm down some. And even then, again, it's not heavy. So I don't think we're talking about big accumulations out of this at all. This is a pretty minor event in our area. But don't get freaked out if you do see some snow flying around tomorrow morning. All right, we'll take a couple more questions if anybody has any, and then we'll go ahead and hop off here. Let's see. Good morning, Judy, from Facebook. Good morning, folks watching on TikTok right now as well. Know a lot of people are on TikTok nowadays, so got a little bit of everything going around our area right now. with that cold air still being in place. Again, that's going to hang around probably through, I'd say, Monday afternoon. So tomorrow will still be cold. You see, after the snow gets on out of here, we're still in the 30s. Tuesday is when we start to see that improvement. That southwest wind picks up. We have some clearing in there. We get a little bit of sunshine. Wednesday is going to have a small rain chance in the morning. I haven't even been impressed with it all week. I still don't think it looks that good. By the afternoon, we're near 50, but the wind starts to pick up, and this is when we start to go the opposite direction. By Thursday, we have a small snow chance in the evening. Some data is a little more aggressive with it than others. I'm not buying into it just yet. But a small snow chance Thursday evening, and then maybe one on Friday as this little clipper system starts to roll its way on in. And you can see that once it does, and once it moves on out of here by Saturday morning, comes the cold. And we've got lows in the low teens in Louisville, possibly some wind chill sub-zero. So definitely a potential for that cold air to head into our area heading into next weekend. Judy, I only want snow on Christmas. After that, bring back the 80s. You know, the 80s sound great right now, but you can kiss those goodbye for a long time. So, all right, if nobody else has any more questions, we'll go ahead and hop off here. Just want to update you guys again. Again, share that it's live. If you're watching on the news page, on Facebook, on YouTube, I'm Meteorologist Bryce Jones. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, etc. And then we'll continue to watch some of those snow showers for tomorrow morning as you're heading out to work. So be careful, drive safe. Just some very, very minor impacts, if even that, with a lot of the snow that's rolling through tomorrow. And then Matthew Wine will be back in tonight, and then I'll be back in for Mike Marshall again a lot this week, along with Jude as we continue to track some of that cold air that's rolling through our area.